So, for my project, I decided that I wanted to make molds of these wooden letters that I brought from Walmart like not too long ago. I decorated them and everything, and I thought it'd be cool to make molds because I don't want to do one in my hand or foot or anything. So it's J, A, C, Z, and Y for Jazzy. My name is Jasmine, so Jazzy for short. Now, so I went to Walmart and got my supplies. A super big bucket, a mixing spoon, but it was a one bigger than this, and then my shovel, which is a really good shovel. It was heavy duty. It was only 50 cents. Pretty good. So I decided to do that stuff and go to the beach. And then I realized when I got to the beach, I was still unprepared. Like I think I should have got like a strainer or something so I could like strain out the sand, because there was like a bunch of sand at the bottom of the my bucket when I got the water. Also, I didn't want like sand mixed up while I mixed the plaster. I don't want sand in it. So I went and looked around and found about like 4 or 5 bottles and filled it up with just the water that's at the top without the sand in it, so that once I clean the bucket out and start the plaster part, that I could just pour the water back in there. Now, for the molding part, it was pretty easy. The only problem was like with Y, it's a like really like sharp edge, and it was hard to keep the sand there because it would lift up as I would lift it. Same with the Z, and the A. So my sister went with me, and as she pulled them out, I would hold the little corner down so that it wouldn't mess up. Now, to pack it in, it was fairly easy because I didn't need the bucket, and it would have been easier to I have to do it one by one if I use the bucket. So I had made a flat bed of sand, and I would take the letter and make sure that it's flat. I would step on it just to make sure it's no like air spaces in the sand, and then pack the sand around it. And then I would take a piece of take a bottle, some of the water, and pour it around it so that it'll pack in a lot firmer. That part was fairly easy. Now the plaster was the difficult part. I had to do 2 different trials of the plaster because the first one didn't work. So for the first one, my sister told me that the plaster needed to be thick, but I never used plaster before, so I was like, I don't want it to be too thick to where I can't pour it out of the bucket. And so for the J, because we did we mixed each plaster individually. So for the J, the plaster was like really thick, so as we were trying to like pour it out of the bucket, it wouldn't pour, so we had to scrape it out with the little mixing spoon, which it was no problem. It was a lot of work. So we decided for the other 4 letters that we would make the mixture a tad bit more. Oh, that sucks. We make the mixture a tad bit more thinner, and it would make it a lot easier. It was pouring in perfectly fine, and it like filled in the mix holes. But the problem with that is after an hour it didn't dry, and my sister had to leave, so I wished them like or whatever and tried again the next day. But I had half a container of plaster left, so I went ahead and did the remainder for the letters again, and with the hopes that they would dry because I will make the plaster thicker. So for the second A, the plaster was just as thick as the plaster was for the J, so it dried really quickly. And then I was using a bottle at this time because I didn't want to mess up my bucket or anything again. So I would take some of the plaster and pour it in the bottle, and then take some water and pour it in the bottle and shake it up. And then depending on when I took the top off how it was moving, I would add plaster or add water until it was perfect. However, again, it was getting stuck, So I tried to make it to where it would move, but it wasn't too liquidy, but it wasn't too thick. And the problem with that was, after a while, after like maybe 30 minutes, it still wasn't dry. And at this time it's going on like 6:30, so I had to leave. So I've been a cold. So I had took the letters, and I had a notebook with me, and I took paper out and flattened it up, and then flattened this side, and then store them at the bottom part of the bucket because it was flat. However, when I got home, they still weren't dry, so I'm guessing I put too much water because the paper was wet. So what I did was I tried to blow dry it, and that didn't work either. So then I just left it alone and hoped that when I woke up this morning it would be dry. And it didn't dry. And then when I picked up the Y, this part of the Y broke, and then was like cracked. And then the Z just was like, it was like in pieces. It wasn't like really tiny pieces, it was like chunks. So I had tried to, while it was still wet, I tried to take the little nail filer thing, and I don't have one, I think I threw it away, but the nail filer thing, and try and like bind the plaster back together didn't work. So this project overall was really messy. Like, I wish I had taken pictures of my hands and my feet, and it was just messy. But at the same time, it was my fault. I wore all white to the beach. I don't know why. Being retarded, I guess. But it was just really messy. But I do want to probably buy some more plaster and remake the mold of the letters, because I was happy with the way that the J came out compared to this one. Oh. There we go. J, this is the wooden J. And the A came out pretty cool. There's the other A. So that's the plaster A, and that's the wooden A that I used. But I'm quite sure next time I'll pay more attention to what I'm supposed to do, the instructions and all of that stuff, instead of just trying to figure it out on my own. But yeah, that's it. So ta-ta for now.